I would like to see our EMS division do that same work. But first of all, you got to do something that you're not hearing a lot about. Hiring. You got to hire at least 300 trained paramedics, and then an additional 700 to 800 EMTs. Now what you're doing, you're putting yourself in a position where you're transporting people back and forth to the house appointments of that nature, but we're doing it at a lower cost. Competition is always good, is always healthy. And who's normally paying for that? Medicaid and Medicare. So it's a service we're already providing. It's a service that our citizens are already using, but we're not providing. It's a service that our citizens are already using, but they're not getting the best value. If the City Detroit EMS division can compete for that business directly, now the prices are going down because we're competing side by side with some of the outside suburban companies. And we're able to generate another additional $150 million to our annual fund. And in turn, we can put more police on the street. Other ways I would like to see the City of Detroit generate revenues here. Right now, we have opportunity. We have $41 million or $47 million coming in federal stimulus dollars coming from Barack Obama's White House. We've got $47 million coming in. This council would tell you that we need to throw down a black hole and fill the budget. This council would tell you, oh, we need to go tear down all the old abandoned homes. In my prior life, I was commissioner of the Housing and Development Department for over 2 years. I have to understand that we have at least 60,000 vacant homes in our inventory today. 60,000 vacant homes. But 80% of those homes are in good neighborhoods. I'm talking about good neighborhoods, good solid brick homes. I would propose we do a couple things to help, one, repopulate the city, create a new tax base, help get some of our children off the street and some of our less fortunate citizens, and get this city back to work. One, I would hire a licensed contractor to come in and fix up the majority of these homes. On the average, the City of Detroit spends $15,000 to tear down a single family dwelling. I would like to see the City of Detroit pay a licensed contractor to come in and fix a house. But the caveat is he has to hire some of our young people out of DPS, out of Focus Hope, out of community college, or even partner with the Detroit Young Builders team and have them come in. And now we're teaching our young people skilled trades and teaching them entrepreneurship and carpentry, electricity, plumbing, masonry, all those skills that now they can use and become their own entrepreneurs, their own business owners, or a skilled trade that now they have a skill they can put food on their family's tables at a later date. But the caveat is also we can train some of these young non-violent offenders coming back from the prison system. It's a way to get a lot of our folks off the street all at one time. But the caveat is now you take that same house, you fix it up for $15,000, you turn around and you sell it to a young family for the same $15,000 they fix it up with. Give them a short 5-year term mortgage. Their average mortgage is $350, $400 a month. You turn around, within 5 years the house is paid off, that money goes back into the bank, it grows interest, you start the process all over again. It's a way to take a $47 million investment and turn it into a $2 billion investment within 10 years. That's how we repopulate our city. That's how we train some of our young people, start entrepreneurship, and that's how we start a whole new tax base. And at the same time, we're bringing in at least $2 billion, and that buys us a whole lot more police to deal with the crime issue in the city of Detroit. So I want to be the champion of putting people back to work. I want to know when you vote for J. Lee Deering, the city's going to work again. Well, I just spoke about it a little bit. The neighborhood I live in is, I live off Exit 9, Joy Road Southfield corridor. You see, I live in that neighborhood not too far from where those 7 young boys got shot just 2 months ago. I was at home that particular day cutting grass. But I just wasn't cutting my grass. I was cutting the 3 abandoned homes next to me grass. See, I was always taught by my grandparents that, you know, you sweep your front porch, and if your neighbor not home, you sweep his too. Because I think it's extremely important that my property value doesn't go down, that my neighborhood doesn't look like crap. And I want to keep it up. So I often cut the grass in my neighbor's house, the abandoned homes next door, just to keep the neighborhood up. So that's the neighborhood I live in. Crime has become an issue over there. They're finding abandoned bodies in houses now. But I'm a Detroiter through and through. I understand the importance of making sure we provide opportunities and services for our citizens. In my neighborhood, we've got the same problem we got all over the city, which is crime and kids. There's a direct correlation between kids and crime and kids. It goes together just like salt and pepper almost. I would propose that since we don't have any rec centers back in our communities anymore, the city can't afford them, because at one time we had 34, 35 rec centers. Now we got 4 or 5, and the hours being slashed. I would propose that we partner with DPS We allow these, we rehire some of these recreational activities workers that get laid off. We allow them to come into the Detroit Public School system and start after-school programs in the gym, after-school intramural basketball programs, have tutoring in the computer lab, have poetry slams, swimming contests. We need to fight and keep our kids off the streets of City Detroit right now before we lose all of them. You know, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I actually had an opportunity to have a meeting with Mayor Benny. I'm scheduled to have another one later on this week. And the mayor expressed at that time that he's got so much on the plate with the City of Detroit, he's not looking forward to dealing with DPS whatsoever. But I'm going to tell you, my wife's an elementary school teacher right here in the City of Detroit. And she's not from the City of Detroit whatsoever. And she doesn't understand all of last year, and thus far this part of the year, she hasn't had not one textbook at all, not one textbook. You see, I'm in a situation, my wife steals about $150 a week out of our household. What I'm saying is, she's constantly using our household funds to buy paper, pencils, school supplies, toner, to make copies for her kids. That is not right to ask these teachers to teach these children, to educate these children, to discipline these children, to love these children, and we don't give them the tools they need in order to do the job. And just last week, when it was the first paycheck she was supposed to receive, she didn't receive one. And other teachers in the school system didn't either. I'm presently, I appreciate and respect the fact that we have a right to vote for our elected school board. But I do know this, it does not work. I don't know what's going to work, but that system does not work. It hasn't worked. I don't believe it's going to work. And if nothing for it, and the future tells me it's going to work. So I would like to see something else happen. And if it means mayoral takeover, I will support it. And try to successfully support it so it will help the children at the end of the day. But definitely the issue of districts is going to come up. I'm not one that's against districts, but I am for, if we're going to have districts, there has to be a sharing of power. Presently right now, the city of Detroit has a foreign strong mayor form of government. If we're going to have districts, and I'm a council member, I'm over a particular portion of the city, I also need to be over who patrols the streets. The supervisory over the police department. Who's the supervisor over the lighting department in that district? Who's the supervisor over the DPW to make sure the trash is being picked up in a timely fashion in that district? Don't give me districts without not giving me the power in order to enforce what goes on in that district. I think it's extremely important that if you're going to have one, you have the other. You know, I'm not personally interested in cutting any. I think the city of Detroit is in the business to provide services and jobs to the citizens. I believe that. That's where we differ from the administration. I do believe we need to maybe cut some departments and join some departments together. I believe our union city workers could do the job better and harder than most. But we've got to give them the tools, we got to give them the supervision and the training to do it. We're the only major city in the country, United States, that don't have professional training for its employees. That's why you go down to City Hall and you have a bad attitude. That's why you go down to City Hall and can't get just basic customer service. And you know I'm right. So it's extremely important that we provide our citizens, our employees with basic customer service skills, professional training, so we can provide a service to the citizens of the city of Detroit. But I would like for us to see us do the service better and stronger and more often. For instance, there's other opportunities we can generate revenues and provide a service that we're not taking care of in the city of Detroit. Right now, just last week, there were over 9,000 people that met out at the state fairgrounds trying to make arrangements on last year's utility bills, to the point where they had to close the gate. That doesn't make sense. So we had at least 9,000 people that charged the gates at the state fair just to make arrangements on last year's utility bills. We're in bad shape in the city of Detroit. Our lighting department here in the city of Detroit is over 100 years old. Kersey, the plant's over 100 years old. It's 6 years ago, it was condemned. Condemned as far as they didn't want anybody in the building. The building's being held together by tape, staples, and crazy glue. You know, but yet still we see hundreds of people every day in there to work. On any given night, the city of Detroit's lighting department can only keep 20% of the city street lights on any given night. But yet still we're paying out the wazoo on our lights bill with DTE. I would like to see the city of Detroit blow up McPherson, tear the building down, and then rebuild a nuclear power plant. That's our next stimulus package.